You're listening to the X-Zone Radio Show live and around the world on the Talkstar Radio Network. Visit us online at
www.xzone-radio.com.
The X-Zone radio and TV show is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X-Zone radio and TV show or in any manner endorsed by Rob McConnell, Relmar McConnell Media Company, Talkstar Radio Network, its affiliated stations, or employees.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Doing that thing you do, breaking my heart into a million pieces, like you always do. And you don't mean to be cruel, you never even knew about the heartache I've been going through. Well, I tried and tried to forget you, girl, but it's just so hard to do. Every time you do that thing you do.
And welcome to the X-Zone, everyone. My name is Rob McConnell, and for the next 4 hours, I'm your host and your guide as together we cross the time-space continuum to this place that I call the X-Zone. It's a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. It's a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. And the X-Zone comes to you Monday through Friday from 10 p.m. Eastern until 2 a.m. Eastern, right here live and around the world on the Talkstar Radio Network and our growing family of broadcast affiliates across Canada, the United States, Central America, the Caribbean, South America, the Pacific Rim, 24 Asian countries, and across Europe. If you'd like to give us a call, our toll-free number is 1-877-528-8255. That is toll-free throughout the U.S., Canada, Alaska, and Hawaii. My email address, xzone@talkstarradio.com. On MSN Messenger, talkstarradio@hotmail.com. And our websites, www.xzoneradio.com, xzonetv.com, and www.paragators.org. My producer tonight at Master Control, the home of the Talkstar Radio Network in Titusville, Florida, is my good friend Danny Zuko. And on tonight's show, Scott Dietrich is going to be my first guest when we come back from our first commercial break. He is a magician, a Canadian magician, and we're going to be talking to Scott about his quest, his journey into being a very successful and professional magician these days. Dan Clark is with us in hour number 2. And we're going to be asking the question, life after religion? That's in hour number 2. Hour number 3, Patrick Cook joins me. We're going to be talking about the next First Lady of Japan is claiming she went to Venus. That's right. She claims that she not only believes in UFOs, she says she's been to Venus. Well, we'll talk to Patrick about that and other wild and willy and mysterious topics. Patrick's always very interesting when he comes on the air. And our final guest tonight is Andrea Stanfield, and she's going to be telling us about how she lived a phony life and how she did it. That's tonight here on the X-Zone, live and around the world on the Talkstar Radio Network. Okay, now, today is Thursday, September the 3rd in the year 2009. And on this date in history, in 1935, a car went over 300 miles an hour for the very first time. In 1967, the TV show What's My Line ended after 17 years. And on this date in 1970, a 17.5-inch hailstone landed in Kansas. Also on this date in 1980, a 17.5-inch stone also landed in Kansas. So apparently there were two 17.5-inch hailstones that landed. If you're celebrating your birthday today, from everyone here at the Talkstar Radio Network and the X-Zone Radio and TV show, a very happy birthday to you. You're celebrating your birthday today with Charlie Sheehan. He turns 44 today. And Al Jardine at the Beach Boys. Are you getting ready for this? He's 67 years old. And Mort Walker, the cartoonist who gave us Beetle Bailey and High and Lois, turns 86 today. So that's, let me see, what else do we have? He loves cartooning, God bless him, and he still approves and draws the majority of all his cartoons. So there you go. There is life after retirement. When I come back from this commercial break in 2 minutes, I'll be joined by Scott Dietrich as the X-Zone commences tonight for Thursday, September the 3rd in the year 2009. If you'd like to give us a call, talk to any of our guests at any time, share with what's on your mind, 1-877-528-8255, email xzone@talkstarradio.com, and on MSN Messenger, talkstarradio@hotmail.com. We'll be back on the other side of this commercial break as we continue.
Do you believe in magic in a young girl's heart? How the music can free her whenever it starts, and it's magic. If the music is groovy and makes you feel happy like an old-time movie, I'll tell you about the magic and it'll free your soul. But it's like trying to tell a stranger about a rock and roll. If you believe in magic, don't bother to choose if it's jug and music or rhythm and blues. Just go and listen. It'll start with a
And welcome back to the X-Zone, everyone. My name is Rob McConnell. Scott Dietrich is our special guest this hour. Scott Dietrich was named Showman of the Year at the Millennium Magic Convention in Limerick, Ireland, and he is an international award-winning magician. He was first recognized internationally at the age of 18 when he won first-place honors as the youngest competitor in the Abbott Senior Magic Competition in Colon, Michigan. Scott is now recognized as one of Ontario's foremost magicians, and I'll go one step further than that, as one of Canada's foremost magicians. Scott is an accomplished sleight of hand artist, having performed for such clients as Revlon, Walmart, and TD Bank, and such celebrities as Karen Kane, Tom Cochran, and Donovan Bailey. Adults are just big kids, and they need to be fascinated and given a reason to laugh more than anyone, Scott says. And magic is an escape. With it, I'm able to create a place where people can leave their problems behind, suspend their disbelief, and dream again. Now, on television, Scott was asked to help break the ice with magic on a special episode of Last Call with Roz and Billy. He was featured in an episode of Arrested Design on the W Network, where Scott took a magic enthusiast through a crash course in illusion. Other television appearances include Breakfast Television, Global News, CKCO Television, and Romper Room. Oh, that's not these days. That's when he was a little boy. And in addition to his work as a performer, Scott is preparing to release his first children's book, due out in the fall of 2009. Scott is also a professional speaker and the co-owner of PD Publicity. And Scott Dietrich, welcome to the X-Zone. How are things? Let me see. You're in Oregon now, aren't you?
Yes, I'm living in Bend, Oregon for the next 3 months, so it's pretty exciting. I just arrived today, actually.
So tell me, Scott, what was it like driving across the nation?
You know what? It's beautiful. I think everyone should take the opportunity to do that, because Canada is just such a diverse country. There's just so much to see. It was just so much beauty. I took pictures the whole way. I was just amazed by all that our country has to offer. It's amazing. Tell
me, Scott, what was it that made little Scott Dietrich, the kid on Romper Room, want to become a magician?
Well, I was sort of fortunate in that regard. My father actually is a magician as well, and it was sort of passed down to me. I'm a second-generation magician. My father actually originally got into magic. He was a farmer, and he would watch television. He used to watch the old Ed Sullivan show, and he saw some magicians on there, and that just really kind of piqued his interest. It was so far away from the world that he knew as a farmer. It just really caught his imagination. So he pursued it and became a magician, and my older brothers were part of a family magic show that I was sort of brought into. They literally used to produce me instead of rabbits in the Family Magic Show, and we did that for years, and that's kind of how I got my start. But I really just kind of caught the bug and stuck with it.
As a young boy growing up, once you caught the magic bug, so to speak, who were some of your favorite magicians?
Favorite magicians? Well, growing up, you mentioned before that I had won the Abbott's Magic contest in Cole, Michigan. That was a conference that I went to every single year growing up, and that was really a big part of the inspiration as to why I stuck with magic and really pursued it in a big way. One of the big mentors to me growing up was Harry Blackstone Jr.
Oh, yeah.
Who I actually met every single year when I went there. Him and his wife were just real sweethearts, and they were really nice, and we actually got to have dinner with them a couple of occasions, and we got to watch them perform, obviously, so that was really exciting for me. And also Greg Fruin, who now has a major Vegas-style show in Niagara Falls, he also went to Cole, Michigan, and I got to know him quite a bit growing up. So those are a couple of the kind of mentors growing up. And I'd say currently my biggest inspiration would be Jeff McBride, and he's based out of Vegas, and he's just phenomenal.
What's it like sitting down and having dinner with a bunch of magicians? Do you guys perform tricks while you're eating your meals?
It is it is quite the experience, actually. And yes, it's pretty much everything you probably expected. Magicians are real cards, no pun intended. And I mean, I'll try to kind of let you see what it'd be like to be at one of these magic conferences. This one in Coleman, Michigan. It's this tiny little town that you wouldn't even take two looks at passing through any other day.
Right.
But Abbott's Magic Company is based there, and once a year, thousands of magicians come into this tiny little town, and you've got all assortments. I mean, you've got the more serious magicians that wear black and use tigers, but then you also got the clowns and the jugglers, and you got everyone, and they're all this mixed mash of people brought into this tiny little town for an entire week. And yeah, sitting at the dinner, people are doing magic tricks, and they're taking your nose, and they're doing card tricks and making balloon animals, and it's a riot. It was quite a way to grow up for sure.
1-877-528-8255, toll free throughout the U.S., Canada, Alaska, and Hawaii. My special guest this hour is Scott Dietrich. His website is www.dreamsrevealed.com. That's www.dreamsrevealed.com. With television getting into all the different aspects of not only magic but the strange, the weird, the bizarre, two sets of magicians come to mind: Penn and Teller, and oh my gosh, I lost it. Angel, what's his name? Chris Angel. Yeah. How do he pulls off? Chris Angel pulls off a lot of these strange stunts. He's a street magician. He's a former bartender, and this is where he learned his basic trade because it was a great way to increase the tips, I guess.
Yeah.
Talk about sleight of hand. Here you go. Here's your change, but keep some back. When you see him levitating, and there was one that I had to scratch my head on when he started levitating from the top of a casino in Las Vegas. You know that he's really not levitating, but everybody's saying, "My God, he's levitating."
That's the beauty of magic. I mean, that's the beauty of this particular art form. It takes what is, impossible and makes the impossible possible. Now, obviously, we're suspending our disbelief. It is an illusion that these great artists and magicians are creating. But it really, if you take this art form far enough and you do it well enough, you can literally create what is perceived as real magic. And I'll admit myself, some of the tricks that he does, I'm not even sure how he does them. Magic has really gone into a whole new realm now. Mind you, the one thing, though, that does take me or remove me a little bit from the experience, though, is the fact that right now magic is very much a television art form, and I believe that magic in its purest form is a live art form. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that I've seen magic in a theater, not on the television, and to me, it's watching it in a theater that you really appreciate magic.
Oh, I completely agree. Yeah, I totally agree, because And even back in the day, like I grew up watching Doug Henning was a big one at the time. He's also a Canadian.
Yes.
And then kind of David Copperfield took over the mantle from that point on. But back then, when you watch their specials, they would always have a little disclaimer at the beginning saying that this special is done without the use of camera tricks.
Right.
You don't see that anymore. So I mean, I kind of let that go. Obviously, there probably are some camera tricks being done now, but back then, the specials that you'd watch, I'd watch David Copperfield's special, and short of him making the Statue of Liberty disappear, everything he did in that special, he'd do live in front of me on that stage, and that just like proved to my mind beyond a shadow of a doubt that this is really magic I'm seeing.
What is it like to stand up in front of an audience and have them totally mesmerized, watching your every move, and yet in total awe because they really don't know what you're doing, but you're doing it?
Yeah, it's a neat bond that you share during a performance. Because, again, these people are willingly suspending their disbelief. I mean, they're going and they know that, this is a performance they're seeing, but they're willing to let that go for that hour or so that they're with you. And because they really want to be fooled. They really want to be surprised and have magic made real for them. And it's a real honor to be in that position. But also, I do a lot of children's magic, and I honestly have the best seat in the house because watching their faces and their reactions is priceless. Like it's amazing. If anyone could see what I see, they totally get why I do this for a living. It's amazing.
Penn and Teller, give me your opinion.
I'm a big fan of Penn and Teller, and back in the day, they caused a lot of controversy because they actually were revealing some magic, as they still do. But the way they do it is so starkly different from, like, The Masked Magician, for example, where, he just comes on and he's hidden behind this mask and he takes a trick, does a very poor performance of it, and then shows how to do it, which really what he's showing is a version of how it could be done. In many cases, isn't the actual way the magicians even do it. He really kind of dumbs down a lot of these tricks. But when Penn and Teller reveal a magic trick, there's one routine where they actually do sleight of hand, and then they do the whole routine again, showing exactly what he did. And when you watch the technique and the skill and the thought that goes into that routine, you actually appreciate it more after seeing it. Like I think they've really elevated magic to a whole other level, and they really know how to create the theatrics and the drama. I'm a big fan of them for sure.
You know what? I love magic, but I have to ask you this, and I hope this isn't going to put you in an uncomfortable situation. Have you ever used rabbits?
Yes, I do actually have a pet rabbit in the show.
Okay. I don't know where you keep the rabbit on you. I don't want to know. But what do you do if the rabbit has an accident?
That is a very interesting question.
Bet you nobody's ever asked you that before.
No, actually, no one ever has. I thought I had heard all the questions, but I obviously haven't.
Welcome to the X Zone.
Okay, well, there we go. That's a good question. Thank you. Well, first of all, my rabbit is my pet, and that I want to make that very, very clear because there are some magicians that use animals in the show, and they pretty much treat them like props. And these are animals and need to be treated as such. And that really bothers me when people don't treat animals properly. My rabbit is treated like a little prince, so really taken well care of. But the peeing situation, my rabbit is about as well trained as they come. I mean, after the show is done, I put him in a hat, and all the children have a chance to pet the rabbit. Well behaved, no problem, nothing.
All right, Scott, stand by, my friend. We'll finish this on the other side of this commercial break with the news that I have to take. Scott Dietrich is our very special guest. And Scott will be with me on the other side of this commercial break because I bet you all want to know what happens if the bunny, has to have a mistake. My name's Rob McConnell. This is the X Zone live and around the world on Talkstar.
Drum roll, please. You're about to make one of the smartest decisions of your life. You're going to get your degree online. It's a fact. People with a degree, on average, make $1 million more in a lifetime. But where are you going to go to school? There are hundreds of online colleges and universities, and thousands of programs to choose from. No worries. Cue the music. Introducing Education Connection. This amazing free service will help you find the right school for you for free. Every day, Education Connection matches students to schools that are perfect for them. Not sure about what to study? Log on to 9educationmatching.com and get a free personality test that can help match you to the right career. This is a $75 value, but it's yours free. So take a minute and go online and learn more about your favorite subject, you. Get a free personality test, a $75 value at 9educationmatching.com. The number 9educationmatching.com. That's 9educationmatching.com.
Douglas James Cottrell, who has been called Canada's Edgar Casey, has just made available his latest CD, Douglas Cottrell 2012 Earth Changes, the first CD in the 2012 Prophecy series. This session features information gathered from the Akashic Records in a deep trance meditation session by Douglas James Cottrell in March of 2009. In this session, Douglas explains changes that have taken place in the Earth's core, changes to the Earth's poles, and the real reason why the polar caps are melting. Douglas also elaborates on increased volcanic and earthquake activity between now and 2012, including what, where, and when. To order your copy of Douglas Cottrell 2012 Earth Changes, visit his website at douglasjamescottrell.com or call toll-free 877-COTTREL.
You're listening to the X-Zone Radio Show live and around the world on the Talkstar Radio Network. Visit us online at
www.xzone-radio.com.
In the summer breeze, showing off their silver leaves as we walked by.
Welcome back, everyone. My name is Rob McConnell. This is the X-Zone on the Talkstar Radio Network from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. 1-877-528-8255 is toll-free. X-Zone at talkstarradio.com is our email address, and on MSN Messenger, talkstarradio@hotmail.com. Scott Dietrich is our very special guest. He is a magician, and I've always wanted to know a question, and I wasn't afraid to ask Scott because he's a nice guy. I asked him what happens if the rabbit has to, has an accident. And he was telling us before we went to the commercial break at the bottom of the hour that his radio, that his rabbit is his pet and is well trained. And, but what happens, Scott? Like nature calls.
Accidents still do happen.
Let's say the little bunny decides to have a six-pack before going to do the act with you.
Well, this has happened on a number of occasions. I mean, over the course of the years of doing magic, it's not a common occurrance. But
now, are you talking about the bunny having the accident or him drinking the six-pack? I'd like to know this one for sure.
That's even rarer. But, the bunny does have accidents once in a while. I know there's one time when I produced the rabbit and all the kids were cheering, and I pulled up the rabbit and I laid the rabbit on my chest to show all the children, and all of a sudden I had this warm, wet stream just run down my chest, and I was like, great. And I mean, I had two other shows that day. I had to go smelling like rabbit urine. It wasn't a pretty sight. And also, what's worse though is sometimes I allowed people to hold the rabbit after the show for the kids to pet, and when it pees on them, that's even worse. So now I put my rabbit in a hat, so that kind of prevents that problem. So, but yeah, it's not pretty. I mean, it's smelly and wet. And
Scott, are there any stories about magic gone bad? For example, I know that there's a lot of care and safety involved in the great magical tricks or the illusions that people are used to seeing on television. Chris Angel is a great illusionist. Mm-hmm. But within the industry, are there ever accidents that happen that just never get out?
Yes, there are actually, and they go from minor to more serious. A minor one I will suggest, which is it's kind of major, is my father was doing magic for my brother's birthday party, mm-hmm. and he does fire eating, and he also does this thing where he blows the fire, and some of the kerosene in his mouth kind of dribbled out of his mouth, and when mm-hmm. he blew, his face went on fire. So that is a definite danger to blowing fire. But as far as some of the bigger illusions go, and he was okay, by the way. He had minor burns, and they were able to fix it all. But some of the more serious things are things like the water torture tank, the water submersion tank.
Right.
That's one that several magicians at least have died from over the years. And also the bullet catch is another one. If done properly, it is safe. But if something goes wrong, it's obviously a very deadly illusion. So when you see like Penn and Teller or other performers, really big up the trick as they're doing it, it's because it is pretty serious. If it goes wrong, it's deadly. So,
unreal, eh?
Yeah.
What kind of person does it take to become a magician?
Well, that's an interesting question, because I think many people are drawn to the art. I mean, I know so many magicians, and they're all different, in their own special ways. But I think the common fact is that everyone has this common curiosity. They don't take life at face value. They always are trying to find another way. They don't believe that there's not a way to do something. They really, their minds are always going. They're always thinking and trying to figure things out. So I think that's kind of a common tie. But there's definitely another common tie, is that most magicians that I know are real characters. You don't see many shy magicians. They're usually very outgoing, kind of A-type personalities. So.
Now, did you go to? Is there such a thing as a magician's school or a magician's university? Or
unfortunately, there isn't really a school per se. Not like a Cirque du Soleil. There's mm-hmm. There's not really a school for magicians. Short of Hogwarts, but that's a bit of a commute though for most of us. What there are, though, are magic camps, and there actually are some good ones right here in Canada. There's actually the Magic Safari Camp. Mm-hmm. That's a really great camp for kids. I used to run a camp for kids at for the city of Mississauga, and also when I was a child, I got the fortunate opportunity to go to the Tannen's Magic Camp in Long Island, New York, and that's a very famous camp. So there are camps, there are places you can go. Less for adults than there are for kids. There's a lot more opportunities for kids than adults, and that's why I actually ran some Learning Annex classes for a while. We still had the Learning Annex here in Toronto. I actually had a class called Break the Ice with Magic, mm-hmm. and it was amazing who would show up. I mean, you'd have some guys that were to learn tricks to pick up chicks, but you also have people there that just always loved magic as a kid, never had a chance to pursue it, or a grandmother that wanted to entertain her grandkids. So, magic just draws everybody. We all have that common yearning to have wonder in our lives.
Are there more? I should say, it seems that there are more men in the magical field than there are ladies.
That is true, and that is unfortunate. I'm not certain as to why that is. I think it's probably just because of history. Mm-hmm. There used to be a lot more male magicians, and I guess more males were sort of drawn to it. But there are a lot of amazing female magicians. Juliana Chen comes to mind. She's actually out of Vancouver, Canada, and this was probably about 10 years ago. She won. FISM is basically like the Olympics of magic. It's the World Championships of Magic, and she won Best Manipulation, which means manipulating cards and coins and that sort of thing. And she won the best in the world, and that's a woman. So that was really nice to see. But unfortunately, there aren't a lot of women magicians. There are getting more and more of them. And I hope to see even more of that trend. But right now it is more of a male-dominated thing.
1-877-528-8255 is toll-free throughout the U.S., Canada, Alaska, and Hawaii. My name is Rob McConnell, and my very special guest this hour is Scott Dietrich. And if you'd like to visit his website, he's got a really cool website. In fact, I believe that's your bunny on your shoulder.
That is correct. That's Houdini.
That's Houdini.
Yes, that is my little bunny Houdini.
So reincarnation is real. Last time he was here, he's a person. This time he came back as a rabbit. His website is www.dreamsrevealed.com. Speaking about Houdini, what was the mysticism behind him? Like, he was a pretty good escape artist. He was a pretty good magician, and yet he seems to be held larger than life by everyone, even so many years after his death.
Well, he was truly a showman, and he was able to make magic more than it was. Like, he was able to sort of create what I would consider legendary magic.
Mm-hmm.
He was able to do things that at the time were amazing, but as the stories get passed down over the years, things get a little embellished, and they grow to become bigger than what they are.
Sure.
And that's kind of neat. I mean, like, David Copperfield made the Statue of Liberty disappear. And if you go on YouTube and you watch the actual video of that, it's not mind-blowing. I mean, at the time it was, like, unbelievable. But if you watch it now, it's a little hokey.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is it was done so many years ago. Now, as all this time has passed, it's become this legendary thing. And that's the same with Houdini. Houdini really understood that and really understood the psyche of society, and really knew how to get in there and really break their imaginations open.
So he was one heck of a showman.
He was, absolutely. I mean, it wasn't. I mean, so much about the magic.
Mm-hmm.
It was more than that. It was his showmanship, and it was his trade as a locksmith. How he was able to figure out how to get out of all these shackles and just make things up and make it death-defying and add a sense of danger to it. That just drew even more people in. He made things bigger than what they were.
So another way to look at magicians they are highly trained professional actors, performers.
Yeah, absolutely. Magic is a tool. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we're all actors, and we all have our tool. I mean, some people use music, some people use dance, and magicians use magic tricks. And my father always taught me growing up that magic is 95% showmanship and 5% the actual trick itself. So if you can master the showmanship part of it, anyone can learn magic tricks, but to truly make a magical experience, you need the showmanship behind that.
What is your favorite trick? I don't want to know how to do it.
Well, I wouldn't tell you anyways.
Oh, darn it. So much for reverse psychology.
My favorite trick to perform is the zombie. That is a floating ball, and you use this large handkerchief, and it sort of floats all around you. It's a beautiful thing, and I've choreographed it to music and dance and the whole bit. So that's something I love to perform. I really find that magical, and I grew up watching Norm Nielsen perform it, and those are great. But as far as to watch, I'll never forget seeing David Copperfield fly live when I was a teenager. I'd seen it on television, but when I got to see it live, and I even knew how it was done, but I was about 30 feet away watching him fly, and he was flying for all intents and purposes. It blew my mind.
Unreal, eh?
Yeah.
What is the hardest trick or the hardest illusion that you have, that you've accomplished and you've said to yourself, I did it?
Hardest illusion. That's
have you ever made the CN Tower disappear?
No. No, I haven't done that yet. No. I've done some I've done some illusions.
Mm-hmm.
I used to have some assistants. I used to do some illusion shows.
Right.
I did like the one where you saw the person in thirds and make a woman suspend on a sword. But I got to be honest, it's a much more difficult thing for them to do than me. I kind of go up there and perform it and get all the credit, but they're the ones doing all the hard work. So I have to give props to my old assistants. But yeah, those are some of the bigger ones. But also things as little as sleight of hand with cards.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you watch it and magicians make it seem so easy, but you have no idea how many hours and hours and decades of work it takes to make something look so simple that's so difficult. So sleight of hand is another thing I've put a lot of time into to make it look simple, but it's really actually very difficult.
Is there a crossover between magic that teeters on the paranormal, the unknown?
Well, yes. there's the ESP and the psychics and the mind readers, that sort of thing. The Max Mavens.
The Great Kreskin.
The Great of course, yes, a Canadian again, yes. And they do border on that. I mean, there's obviously a whole spectrum here. I mean, there is magic as a performance art, but then there's also magic with a K. You know, there's also that whole other realm of magic, and where a magician falls on that spectrum is sort of up to them and their belief systems. But yes, magic can go far off into the other gap as well, and into the psychic and into the things that Kreskin would do, obviously. So yeah, there's a wide spectrum. I'm primarily involved in just kind of the performance aspect of it and that sort of trick. But magic has a wide spectrum and can go into really kind of paranormal kind of things. Absolutely.
How long would it take if somebody listening tonight wanted to become a magician? And are there different stages that you go? For example, would you suggest that they go out and buy a book on card magic, master that first, and then go on to the next realm of tricks and so on and so forth?
Well, yeah, you want to get a good base. You want to, like the library, I tell people all the time, is the best place to go. I mean, you can go to a magic shop and buy a bunch of tricks, but I mean, David Blaine's first couple specials, a lot of the magic that he was doing and that was blowing away fellow magicians was actually very old. It was from like the early 1900s. It wasn't new magic. It was old magic brought back that people had forgotten about and put in a new way and was blowing people away. So I mean, some of the best kept secrets are in books, and they're in the old books that are covered in dust. Those are the ones you want to bring out and dust off and find the really good stuff. So I'd say the library is a good place to go, but there are a lot of great resources now online, obviously. And I mean, people can get started at any point in their life. I know right now, you were asking before about women in magic.
Yes.
Joan Caesar is the president of the International Brotherhood of Magicians. And that's a pretty amazing thing. And we've actually been friends with the Caesars. Since I was a child, she actually used to bring her son Ben to the local YMCA where my dad taught a magic class to kids.
Oh, wow.
That's where we met. And Joan and her son Ben used to go to Abbott's with us, and she really caught the bug. And she continued to go to all these things and really kind of get wrapped up in magic. And she's actually gone on to become now the president of the International Brotherhood of Magicians. So, you know, you can, and she was an adult at the time when she started. So, I mean, you can start at any point and definitely find your place in the world of magic for sure.
All right, stand by. You and I have to take our commercial break. We'll be back shortly. Exo Nation, our special guest this hour is Scott Dietrich. And if you'd like to visit his website, it's a good site, and you'll love the bunny, www.dreamsrevealed.com. That's dreamsrevealed.com. And I'll be back on the other side of this commercial break as we continue live and around the world from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, right here on the Talkstar Radio Network. Don't go away.
It may have been a messy divorce that suddenly cut your income in half, but not your bills. It might have been an injury, an illness, or your boss just cutting back your hours. It doesn't really matter how you got in over your head. It only matters that you are and that we're here to help. If you've got over $10,000 in credit card debt and you can't ever see breaking free, then call J. Warren Financial and do it now. Being in over your head is a vicious cycle. One day late, they charge you a late fee. Miss a payment, they double your rate. You just don't think it's fair, and neither do we. This is not bankruptcy or just a simple rate reduction plan. We fight for you using our proven experience and the insider programs the credit card companies try to hide.
If you have at least $10,000 in credit card debt, you owe it to yourself to call Jay Warren at 800-518-8624. Just because you're in over your head doesn't mean you need to stay there forever. Call 800-518-8624 today, and we can be on your side tomorrow. That's 800-518-8624.
Are you getting tired of all the bad news? Well, then take a break from the worries of the world and play the love game. It's time to focus on what is really important in our lives, our relationships. You deserve more love, happiness, and harmony in your life. Synchro Hearts is the new hot relationship game that guarantees more love, laughter, and romance for you and your partner. It's not a sex game, it's a love game based on all the important relationship stuff like better communication, more intimacy, and lots of fun and excitement. Great intimacy is just one of the benefits of playing Synchro Hearts. Now, President Obama inspires hope, love, and peace for the world. Synchro Hearts offers more hope, love, and harmony for relationships. To order your very own edition of Synchro Hearts, visit Synchro Hearts' website now at www.synchrohearts.com. That's www.synchrohearts.com. Synchro Hearts. It's the game you love to play and play to love.
Welcome back, everyone. Scott Dietrich is our special guest. www.dreamsrevealed.com. And Scott, I'd like to talk to you a few minutes about the other hat that you wear as a co-owner of PD Publicity.
Sure, yeah. I also now have a publicity company, and I book guests on radio and television. It's something I sort of came into through my one of my best friends, Dave Farrow, who was actually on your show recently.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah, he is. So yeah, I kind of got into that through him. He needed some help with his promotion.
Mm-hmm.
I sort of fell into it and kind of achieved a lot of success very early. I had the honor this past year of actually speaking at the National Publicity Summit in New York City. So that was a real honor. So yeah, I'm kind of wearing two hats now, one top hat and one publicity hat. So
tell me, in the publicity hat, do you have a bunny in your hat?
No. That'd not be safe because I wear that hat too often. So wouldn't want it leaking. Yeah, no, it's great actually. It's kind of fun to have the two opportunities. And one other thing I wanted to mention with the magic is that I'm going to be on YTV in the fall. They've actually had me do a bunch of segments. So I'll be doing magic every evening. They have the big evening show lineup, and I do little tricks before each of the shows in the evening lineup. So you'll get to see me on YTV pretty much every day.
So you're going to be the Chris Angel of Canada?
Sure.
Oh boy, work with me here. Work with me.
Now, actually, I was wondering if we have enough time, is it possible to do a trick for your audience?
How much time do you need?
Maybe like 2 or 3 minutes.
Well, we've got about 2 minutes.
Okay, I'll make it quick.
All right.
Everybody listening, if you could please grab a deck of cards.
Listen.
And then once you've got a deck of cards in your hand, I need you to take off just 9 playing cards.
Okay.
Just hold 9 playing cards in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just give them a second to do that. Once you have your 9 playing cards, I want you to fan them in front of you. And so you can see all the faces of all the cards. They're all fanned in front of you.
Yep.
And I just want to pick a card at random. I don't know what cards you have in your hand. Everyone has different cards. But maybe just take the second card from your left. Just notice what that card is, and then close up the packet, and then turn them face down, still holding them in your hand.
All right.
Now, what I want you to do is first spell your name. So we'll do it in your case, Rob. You'd put down the top card face down.
R-O-B.
Off the top.
Okay.
Then put the next card off the top on top of that one, and then B on top of that one, and then take the rest of the cards as a pile and set them on top.
Okay.
Okay? Now pick up all those cards.
Mm-hmm.
Now this time, spell my name Scott using one card for each letter. So S-C-O-T-T, and then put the rest of the cards on top as a pile again.
Scott, 20 seconds.
Yep. Okay, now pick up all the cards.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you a little bit of freedom here. Put down the top card.
Yep.
The next card.
Yep.
Next card, go as long as you want, and then put the rest on top.
Okay.
So we've got these thoroughly mixed up. Now I'm going to try to find your card quickly here somewhere on the deck. It's random here. All your names are different. But I want you to hold the top 3 cards in front of you. Just hold them in front of you and think of your card for a moment.
Scott, 10 seconds.
Okay. It's not one of those. Take the next card. Think about it.
Yep.
No, it's not that one. Let me take 2 more.
Scott, we've run out of time.
The next card.
We've run out of time, Scott. We've got to go.